I'm just the voice. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. I'm just the voice of the industry. It's not so much, Mike Holzheimer or Valuation Review or October Research saying it. This is what I'm hearing from the experts who I talk to in the industry at conferences.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. Dustin Harris hanging out once again on the podcast treadmill today, trying to get a little exercise in as I talk to my good friend coming up. I want to pause and remind you that we're sponsored by a couple of great companies, of course, OREP Insurance being one of them. OREP is my E&O of choice. It should be yours as well, orep.org. And of course, Alamode. Alamode is the software that I've been using forever and ever and will always use forever because it's the best. Alamode.com, of course, alamode.com. I want to welcome back to the program, friend of the program, Mr. Mike Holzheimer. He's with Valuation Review and October Research. Welcome back, Mike.
Hi, Dustin. How are you? Thanks so much for having me back on your program. It's been a while, but
it has been a while.
Always a pleasure to talk to you.
It is so fun to talk to you, Mike. Mike is one of the few guests that I've actually met in person. In fact, I met you in person before you were a guest. We met years ago back at the AI conference in Dallas.
Correct.
And last time you were on the program was actually episode number 587. And that was in November of 2020. So it's been a couple of years. That was right in the middle of the pandemic, man. That was a crazy year.
Yes, it was. A lot of activities and projects were completed in the manner that we're doing now. Everything was virtual and less travel, obviously, but hopefully those days are behind us. And the chance to get back on the road again is always a plus. And nothing like meeting people in person and talking and networking. And I've had a chance to do that now several times since going back on the road and conferences opening up again.
Awesome. Well, for those who are new to Mike, Mike is not an appraiser, but he's a journalist. He's actually just celebrated his 8-year anniversary with October Research LLC. He was honored during the year to receive 2, not 1, but 2 nominations for excellence in business journalism with the Neal Awards. So a very prestigious award in the country for business journalism. So congratulations on the nominations there, Mike. Very, very cool.
Thank you. I was very honored. I mean, just to be nominated, I did not win the award, but you know what? Just to be considered by your colleagues as having an article worthy of that honor, that's a win for me because it represents what our company is doing for the appraisal industry.
Very cool. Well, Mike, you also do, and I think appraisers listeners will be familiar with the Voice of Appraiser survey. If they're not, though, tell us a little bit about that. What is the Voice of Appraiser survey?
It's our annual survey. It's one of our special reports. And it really, Dustin, I would say is one of the most recognized that Valuation Review puts out each year. It really gives me an opportunity to stay on top of issues and get a true feel as to what appraisers and lenders are thinking out there as the 12 months have gone by. What's on their mind? What are they concerned about? What do they see maybe improving? And suggestions that they give as far as where the industry could go to flourish, continue to be relevant. So it's really a true barometer, if you will, as far as where the profession is and how appraisers and lenders see it. And we break that up with various categories. We have the making a living, business practices, state of the industry, a view from the lender, working with AMCs, and of course technology. That comprises our report and the survey.
Awesome. Well, it's been we talked about 2020 being a weird year rather. 2023 and the latter portion of 2022 I'm not going to call it weird. I'm going to call it a little bit scary for appraisers. Let's start with that. What are some top concerns that you're hearing from appraisers right now?
Well, between going to conferences and just looking at some of the results that we got back from this year's survey, one of the areas was that there are still some lack of work concerns. Although in some cases, I've talked to several appraisers who say they've never been busier. It's a great time to be an appraiser.
Isn't that
but,
weird?
It's
see both sides.
I know, but that's good because that creates discussion.
Sure,
and that's what we're looking for. I think that there's also, and you have obviously come across this many times. You've written about it. We've talked about it. There is that concern of getting replaced. Am I going to be replaced because of the technology with the the AVMs? And now, of course, we throw in the artificial intelligence. Where is that's here to stay, but where is that going to go as far as the appraiser's mindset of continuing to be relevant? So those are some of the concerns that I hear, in addition to just the constant pressure many appraisers feel they're under in terms of getting assignments completed because of the other demands from other entities that are out there. That's a concern also. But those are just some of the things that I'm hearing. In addition to also, Dustin, there's still a concern about confidence. And I know we'll talk about that as far as the data that gets collected by way of AVMs and whatnot, and confidence in the third party and the inspectors. Appraisers have a concern about that because at the end of the day, their name is on the report. They're signing off. They want to be confident.
Right, for sure. No, I appreciate you. The concerns that you're hearing on your side are certainly matching up with some of the concerns that I hear on my side. And I don't know if it's just because I'm in the thick of it right now, but it almost seems, Mike, and tell me if you're seeing something different, but it almost seems like this year, similar concerns than we've seen. I mean, every year people say, am I going to get replaced? Am I going to have a job in a couple of years? Am I going to get volume? Am I going to be able to increase my net worth? All of those things are certainly concerns. Would you agree, though, Mike, that this year seems a little more emphasized?
I think so. I think coming out of the problems, or I should say the adjustments that had to be made in 2020 with the pandemic. There's been so much more of the new technology available that appraisers need to adapt to, and some have had trouble doing that. But I also think too, as I've heard many times through my interviews and listening to other people speak at conferences and webinars and meetings, there's been opportunity. I think a lot of appraisers have maybe surprised themselves in terms of accomplishing certain things in a way that they didn't have to do it that way before. I think that there's an emphasis on that, and I just think that there is the call, if you will, in 2023 and moving forward to continue to challenge yourself and look at some of the things that have been brought in to assist the appraiser. I think that's the thing where I've heard, just looking at some of the comments in this year's survey, these things are not meant to replace anyone. It's meant to assist. It's meant to help.
Yeah, I agree completely. All right, so let's turn this frown upside down a little bit. Let's talk about the positive side. What are some good things that you're seeing out there regarding the appraisal profession?
Well, I think just kind of to piggyback on what I just said, I think that the new technology that has been implemented, I think appraisers are very excited about that. I think that it's, again, allowing them to do more. You've talked to me several times about, there's a way to delegate authority, when you can send other people out, when you can do certain things from your desk, and that's the technology aspect of it. I think that there is some positives in terms of appraisers like the schedules that they can basically set. You don't find that in too many other professions,
for sure.
And they again, that allows them, to do more and have that quality downtime with family and whatnot. recharge the battery, if you will. They just come back even stronger. And I think that, again, with some technology additions, there's a way for appraisers to talk about themselves, get the word out as far as what they do, who they are, how they can enhance your business. I think appraisers are excited about that. So I think that there's a lot of positives there. Not every profession, not every job is perfect. You've got your downside, but you have to look for those positives. And I think appraisers are doing that, especially for those who I've talked to. They're optimistic about the future because, again, what's being put in front of them to do their jobs.
I love your answers, Mike. I recently spoke with an individual who was in the appraisal profession, who left about a year ago, maybe a year and a half. Anyway, doesn't matter. About 12 to 18 months ago, and started in a trades profession, specifically construction, but a specific sector of construction. And he and I were talking just a couple of days ago, and he said, Dustin, I don't think I really appreciated the freedom that I had as an appraiser, because I just don't have that anymore. And so, and I think it's true with any job, right? There's going to be some ups and there's going to be some downs.
Sure.
But I'm glad you pointed that out, because it is a great profession. It's one that I've enjoyed for many years and will continue to enjoy. We are talking with Mike Holzheimer of Valuation Review through October Research. When we get back, Mike, I want to dig a little bit deeper into this, some of the changes that are happening, the attitudes that are happening, and talk about some of the things that you're seeing from the Voice of the Appraiser survey. First, want to pause and remind everyone that we're sponsored by a great company out there. Speaking of technology and speaking of delegation, how about delegating your tasks to technology, meaning a la mode? A la mode, of course, is allowing appraisers to be more efficient and more effective at what they do. Why? Well, because they have built-in tools with the software that you won't find in any other report writing software, folks. It's that good. Check them out by going to their website. You can even watch some of their training videos and find out what are some of the options that you will see that you don't see with other companies. It's alamode.com. Again, alamode.com. E&O is not something that we think about or want to think about very often. In fact, if we have to think about it, it's like, oh crap, should I report this to the E&O, right? We don't want to think about it, or it's renewal time. It's not something we think about on a day-to-day basis, folks, but I'll tell you this, I love insurance. I really do. It sounds silly. I love the peace of mind that insurance gives me, and there is no better E&O insurance out there for appraisers than OREP. It's been my E&O of choice for many years. It will continue to be my E&O of choice. Great customer service. People who understand appraisers and understand what we're going through. Check them out by going to their website at orep.org. That's OREP.org. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. Talking with my good friend, Mike Holzheimer with Valuation Review. Welcome back, Mike.
Thanks, Dustin.
Very good to have you on. I love your perspective. You are a journalist for appraisers. You travel the world, going to different conferences, kind of taking the temperature. You are in a very unique position, in my opinion, to kind of keep your ear to the ground as far as what's going on with appraisers. And then you do this year survey, which is the Voice of the Appraiser. Question, what consistent patterns do you find when you do this survey? What things do you see popping up over and over again?
Well, it's not a secret that, we're going to hear some concerns and maybe some negativity with this survey. It's just part of the deal, if you will. And I, again, reading some of the comments this morning before I came on the air with you, and I know that you can speak to this as well. There's still a lot of concerns, and there's a lot of consistency year after year with the survey as far as the perception appraisers have with AMCs.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Let's dig into that.
Sure. It's just that, again, maybe I see it where the attitude may be that they look upon that situation as, they're being restricted. They don't have a whole lot of say in the matter, not a whole lot of says in the fees. And I recall something that you shared with me one time, and I put it in a story, that, you hear an appraiser say, well, I'm not going to accept that fee. And you always say, well, then don't. You don't have to.
You do have a choice, right?
Yes, you do. So that seems to be a consistency year after year. And of course, the fees that we just brought up, the low fees, AMCs, are they taking too much? And those kinds of things. And not enough time, again, to get a completed assignment on a full residential appraisal report.
Sure.
They need more time, and also maybe just, when there's and again, change is a part of life. It's a part of one's professional business. But when you get the GSEs coming in with new regulations or other government entities, that seems to be something that the appraiser feels is weighing them down, if you will. Those are what I see, year after year. So much so with, AMC's fees, and, why can't we just be left alone, for lack of a better term? So that's kind of what I see year after year.
One of the things that we haven't talked about, Mike, and one of the, I don't know if I call it a change, but maybe more emphasis that I see this year than I've seen in the past, is the attitude that appraisers have toward trainees. Yes. And the attitude that trainees have toward the profession, meaning I'm seeing a lot of trainees with increased frustration. And of course, because they can't find mentors, or, how do I get into this profession? And then on the flip side, you see appraisers frustrated with PARIA and some of the, the new ways to get into the industry. Right. Address that a little bit, the attitudes toward trainees and trainees towards toward the industry.
Well, I think the attitude that appraisers have towards trainees, in fact, one of the questions on the survey is, are you training an appraiser? And the overwhelming response is no.
No, yeah.
And because of what we kind of alluded to before, financially, it may not be feasible to train an appraiser. And again, the mindset of that the appraiser has, am I training someone who's going to take my job? And I don't want to do that.
Right.
And then on the flip side, when you look at trainees, it's difficult for them because there's just not a lot of supervisors out there willing to do all that. Yeah. So we're seeing a lot of that in this survey. That's definitely an area of concern. But again, at some point, you have to start somewhere. and somebody always looks up to somebody who, helps them along to get to the areas and the levels that the veteran appraiser is at. So I think that, that's something that is just going to have to be, dealt with. It's going to be a concept that we're going to see year after year. And hopefully, the attitude kind of shifts a little bit as far as direction, where it's a positive to a veteran that can bring someone in who will benefit from their experiences. Yeah. And then down the road, that person who looked up to the one veteran, then he or she is in the veteran position. And it's just a cycle, and the circle of appraisal life, if you will.
That's a good way to put it. Circle of appraisal life. The other thing I want to hit on before I let you go, Mike, this survey also expresses opinions and concerns of lenders. Let's talk about the other side of the table. What are they saying as far as this year's survey is concerned?
Initially, just that from what I was able to quickly pick up, the lenders again have that confidence concern as far as if a trainee is involved, shall we say?
Yeah.
They're looking at that, and I just think again the idea of the ability to meet everyone's needs, the client and so forth. Lenders are looking at that. It's a variety of things. But right off the top of my head, those are the two of the areas. But I enjoy looking into that as well. And I think that, for this year's survey, we're going to see a little more feelings and a little more responses in terms of lenders working with appraiser. The lenders also, they want a good relationship with the appraiser. That's so important. Everybody on the same page in this entire process, including the AMCs, when they're all rowing the boat in the same direction, then I think that leads one down the path of, relevancy and confidence. When everybody feels that they're going to be able to trust what the other person is saying, doing, the results they're getting, that's a win-win.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Mike, this is actually this episode, even though we're recording it in 2023, will actually air the first part of 2024. How do people find out about the Voice of the Appraiser survey? And frankly, this is a great opportunity for you if they're not familiar with October research, with Valuation Review. Talk to us a little bit about how an appraiser can find out more.
Sure. Well, as far as this particular survey, Dustin, which will be the 13th annual Voice of the Appraiser, we had nearly 1,000 people participate.
Wow.
Which is good. And also to let your audience know, this is going to be a regular print edition of Valuation Review. So if you are a subscriber, you're going to get the report.
How cool.
But non-subscribers, you can purchase it by going to octoberstore.com, and they'll have all the information there for you. And this survey will be launched Monday, October 30th.
Okay, so it will definitely be here when this is aired. Give us the website again, October Store?
Octoberstore.com.
Perfect. Mike Holzheimer, you are a friend of the program, a friend of mine. I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you for bringing a very unique perspective to the program.
Thanks, Dustin. I appreciate that. And, as I've always said, and I've said this to you many, many times, I'm just the voice. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. I'm just the voice of the industry. It's not so much, Mike Holzheimer or Valuation Review or October Research saying it. This is what I'm hearing from the experts who I talk to in the industry at conferences. And this is what the people, veteran appraisers, are saying. And that's what we're bringing, to the table. And as always, things like this particular survey and any story, basically, in general, we want to make sure that we're giving an opportunity to create more conversation. You don't always have to agree with what's written or what's been said, but we can talk about it and share ideas, and that's what makes it work for me as a journalist. I love to share ideas. I shared with you that back in the day I was a sports columnist, and on the day that the paper came out where my column was there, I guarantee you, as soon as I walked in, my phone message light was lighting up. You couldn't believe it, but that's okay, because I want people to discuss with me, share ideas, and respect opinions, because that's what it's all about. And I think that the Voice of the Appraiser survey comes through with that. We share a lot of opinions, both good and bad, but at the end of the day, we just want to make sure that those are respected and we can all learn from it.
Amen, my friend. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for being on, and let's do it again soon.
Will do, Dustin. Thanks again.
All right.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.